Good morning. It's what day is it? Sunday. Is it morning? Yeah, it's morning. So as you can see, I've got my Elektron Model Cycles in front of me at the moment. I was interested in seeing if I could get a like Roland 303 style constant time glides. I've always liked the sound of a constant time slide, and Elektron's fairly well spec'd. This Elektron's fairly well spec'd. So anyway, I did some research, and there's a tips and tricks thread on Elektronauts, and this user, sorry if I say your name wrong, Technokaru, back in 2020, he added this tip, which is a way to get a constant time glide on a cycles using a square LFO, but with no speed, and then using the fade to choose the time of that constant time slide, and the LFO depth becomes the slide depth, positive or negative. Now, I didn't even get very far doing that manually because I didn't think it would be a lot of fun, and I like making little single page apps using the web MIDI protocol. So I immediately started talking to ChatGPT, as I like to do with my weekends, and we've come up with something that seems to work to sort of preview and offer these slide lines offline in a compatible Chromium browser, Edge or Chrome, and you can muck about, you can make them, and then once you've made them, I found out a way to send the cycles transport, MIDI start, MIDI clock, and then it just sort of prints it. I'm calling it printing it because I'm old-fashioned, but it basically records it into the cycles for you if you've got it slaved to MIDI clock. It doesn't do it for you. You have to engage unquantized record, but apart from that, it works. So anyway, let's have a little go. So first thing I'm going to do is load my page in progress. This isn't on my website yet, but it will be. There, hopefully you can see that. I haven't done any presentation. It's just a working web page at the moment. It's called Model Cycles Random 16-step LFO slide recorder. It's not going to win any marketing awards, is it? So anyway, what you need to do, if I do put it out there like this, you need to enable web MIDI. So you press that, and we're going to choose our model cycles as the output. Okay, now let's go over to the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bin off the current pattern. So I'm going to reset all data, confirm yes. That should be an empty pattern, but it should still be a tone. I'm sorry, I haven't made it a tone yet. So then we go change the machine to tone. Good. Now what you'll find is it does a few little things, this little web page. It's basically got a random generator, but we'll get into that. If I start playing a random pattern, you'll hear it without slides because we haven't set the LFO up yet. So if I just play that, right, and for the purposes of demoing slides, I like to go really slow. Something I used to like to do on Rubber Duck by Delusion. I like their app. So if we hear that now, oops, I've randomized it again. What you'll hear is I've got this second articulation, which is a really short decay. I like it. I think it sounds quite interesting. Anyway, I'll stop that. We'll go back to our camera. I'll show you how we're going to set the LFO up. 1 second. I could have had this open ready, apologies. Right, let's see if we can go to screen mirroring. Let me try that again. First time I've done this, so bear with, apologies. Stop mirroring. You just restart that server. Can we see my screen? That was probably working all along, silly me. Right. Okay. Get there in the end. So let's have a look at the LFO settings for this Tone Track 6. Get my fingers out of the way. So what I'm saying, or what the chap on Elektronauts was saying, is it needs to be a square wave. You need the right destination, which is pitch. Depth is sent automatically by the app, but we need to do function and LFO to turn reset on, so it restarts every note. And fade is the speed of the slide, and the chap recommended -24, which I also like. So that's that done. Back out. Okay. Back to the screen. So slick and professional. Right. So now if we go to the pattern generator, let's see if it's sliding. Well, it's not the best pattern, but it's doing it. Let's randomize it a few times so we make it sound better. That's all right. All right. Back to the overhead. What I'm going to do now is engage unquantized record. Unquantized record might be record and play twice for you because it toggles between quantized and unquantized, but unquantized is better. And then we'll go back to the app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press slow print to cycles, but I'm going to I can't show you both screens at once, can I? Okay, we'll do it like this and we'll hear it do it. So that did it. We didn't get to watch it doing it because we can't watch both at the same time. But now, if I press play, okay, that's doing it 120 BPM. We want to be at 60. Now they should sound the same. that in your mind's ear, as it were, and then we'll play it from here again. Yep. So I think that's quite an accurate representation of it that the app has recorded for us into the cycles pattern. So that's eventually I got there with a demo, but then what we can do is we can I'll just tell you some of the stuff. So the 16 steps, they can be active, which is play a note or not. So a little bit like a 303 style device, you can choose to slide to the next note, and it looks ahead, and works out what note you're going to slide to, and it works out what interval it needs to send the cycles to slide to it, and then it fettles the LFO depth, which thankfully the MSB and the LSB of that MIDI controller, well, thankfully it's a MIDI controller anyway, thankfully it records it, and thankfully it's got the fidelity to use MSB and LSB to get exactly semitone pitch slides from an LFO, just targeting pitch. So that was quite unexpected. I worked with GPT to map out what depths I needed to do what, and I think it's capped out at 24 semitones, but even so, that's nice. So anyway, yeah, you can choose to slide short decay articulation. Something I used to use in Rubber Duck. It sets the note length to 10% of a step, and it sets the decay to 10 out of 127. I just think that can give you a nice rhythm. And something else that Rubber Duck can do is, if you're on a step without active, you can put mute decay on this step. So that just gives you an abrupt, if you're using a long decay, just gives you an abrupt stop the sound of the pattern there. So that's how all that works. And then these, you can choose what percentage of steps are made active, what percentage of steps are made slide, what percentage of steps get the short articulation, what percentage of those, what percentage of steps that are not active get the mute. You can change the decay of the pattern. You can change the decay of the second articulation, and you can choose the octaves and the pitches. You can choose what pitches you want to allow in your pattern. So let's set it running again. This is live decay. If I press it right. So we could invert it and have a short normal decay and a long short articulation. Just to see what that does. Put that back on 20-ish. That a bit longer. Sorry for keep pressing the touchpad wrong. Let's do some randoms. Well, that's quite funky. So what we'll do is we'll do another record, but we'll do this from the perspective of the cycles, so you can see it happening. There's the cycles. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go pattern, clear, that pattern's empty. Yeah, So what I'm going to have to do, start that recording, go here, say slow print, and quickly jump back. Did that work? Not entirely. Let's find out what's gone wrong there. Pattern clear. Let's try that again. So oh, I know what happens. When you change tabs, it stops the MIDI send. So I have to have. Oh, I'll tell you what I can do. I'll tell you what I can do. We'll do a side by side. Right, that's recording. Slow print, so it doesn't matter when you do it, it sorts of transport out. Yeah, that's done. And now let's see what we captured. Well, it sounded better before, but let's just check that that's what it was supposed to sound like. That's about right. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. This was an experiment based off somebody else's idea. So I'm going to put this single page MIDI application, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to put it on my my website. I'll put the link to it in this video. Then if anybody wants to try it and let me know how it works for them, that's cool. And everybody keep enjoying their model cycles, because I'm really pleased. I've actually bought a backup because I always want to have one available. So yep, hope you enjoy the rest of your weekends, and hope to see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.